don't always think you're right. I always know that the customer has the answer to the test. If I'm listening to the customers, they are going to tell you where you're good, bad, and ugly. And if you got
Sure.
too much pride and you can't hear, hey, it's going to make life a little tougher. It doesn't mean the customers are always right, but if you
Sure.
talk to enough of them and you can pick up on a pattern and you can make those changes and pivot, then you're going to be better off for that.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the 17th episode of the American Dream podcast. This week we have James with LiveSwitch. I am Blake with Insignia Screen Printing and Bluff Valley Campground.
And then I'm Cole Nelson here with Maverick Construction. James, we'll let you introduce yourself and kind of live switch, and we'll get right into it.
Yeah, James Hatfield, LiveSwitch, Chief Revenue Officer, basically go find the money guy, But prior to that, I ran painting and power washing companies before jumping into financial technology and found my way into technology somehow. But I used to live a life on a ladder, and then now I live a life behind a computer, and my eyesight keeps getting worse. So now you can take my lunch money later, guys. I can give
Sure.
that to you later. I'm a nerd now.
You're a nerd. That's quite a transition.
So how long have you been with LiveSwitch then here?
So we bought the company 4 years ago. It's
Okay.
a 16-year-old company, and I've been here all 4 years when we purchased it.
Sure.
Cool.
So we'll kind of dive into even just a step back before that. So I got my notes here that you own and operated and started SageWorks. It was the first national
It's a financial technology company.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's-
Yep.
And I never intended to be there either.
Sure. Yep.
I was just a guy running painting companies and power washing companies, and literally I'd go to the bookkeeper and they would speak English to me, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying to me
Sure,
at
sure.
all. But I know they got my mind on my money, so I need to
Yep.
figure out how to understand my money a little bit better.
Sure.
So back then, 20 some odd years ago, state school was actually affordable, crazy affordable college.
Sure.
And went and got my business degrees and accounting degrees so I could understand my books and make sure I'm making money and I could actually have an intelligent conversation with the bookkeeper.
Sure. So that was kind of the first thing when you're running your own business. You just didn't understand it enough, and so you decided to go back and really take a deep dive into it.
Yeah, I think, the more that you can spend time learning your books and learning your business and tweaking that, the numbers don't lie,
Yep.
and so it helps me run my businesses better.
Sure. Yeah. And we've talked about that a lot, about knowing
Yep.
your numbers and diving into those financials, because a lot of business owners, especially small ones, they don't, right? And I'm sure you see that as well. They're, running on, I think we made money in that project, or, we don't really know the cost and breakdown and profit margins and all those types of details. So I think that's a huge little, piece that business owners definitely miss out on. And that's why I think you see a higher failure rate of them in those early years on those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I actually met a guy, he's my business partner, and he was running a landscaping company, same problem. And when he was finishing up his degree, he put together a financial model where you could take your income statement balance sheet, give it to it, and it would tell you in layman's terms as a business owner where you're doing well and where you're not doing well.
Sure.
And we kind of put our heads together, and I could sell. I used to go door to door knocking, when I started my home service company, because I have no shame. I'll just knock on the door and go get the money somehow, right?
Yep.
And I put my guys to work. But that company went from nothing. We took that company from nothing to Inc. 500. I mean, we were one of the fastest growing companies in the country, and then it's a multi-billion-dollar company now. And we have people there that we originally hired, and it does bank loans and it does financial services. It's a financial technology company, and that worked out kind of well.
What were some of the big things that helped you get there so fast? Like so many people get stuck in the rut and they kind of hit like a cap and they just can never break through. What were some of the big things that got you that next level?
Yeah, grind and hustle and listening, right? And don't always think you're right. I always know that the customer has the answer to the test. If I am listening to the customers, they are going to tell you where you're good, bad, and ugly. And if you got
Sure.
too much pride and you can't hear, hey, it's going to make life a little tougher. It doesn't mean the customers are always right, but if you talk to enough of them and you can pick up on a pattern and you can make those changes and pivot, then you're going to be better off for that. And in the meantime, hustle and grind.
Yeah.
Every day counts. I don't think in quarters. Forget that. I think in days, weeks, and at the most months.
Sure.
And I get everybody focused on what they're going to do that day, and that's how we drive it forward. Every day matters in a fast-growing company, and I think sometimes we can get a little lazy around that. And if you really have the need for speed, you get around any organization that has a need for speed, like those F1 racers, those NASCAR. they're timing how fast those drills are going to get those tires off,
Sure.
right? And they're trying to get better and better at drilling a,
Yeah.
a bolt
Yeah.
off to get that. I mean, that's incredible to me.
Yep.
I mean, but that's how you win.
They got one simple task, but it's very extremely difficult at the same time to do it at the level they're doing. But yeah, they know exactly what they're doing, when they're doing, and how to do it.
Yeah, they tune out the noise, they get focused, they simplify, and they get her done. And I think we got so much noise in our businesses that we forget how to just keep it simple. I literally just recommended just right before this call to another owner, like tell your entire team to read the book Simple by Alan Siegel,
Sure.
right? And I always make fun of my engineers because back to tech, I mean, engineers like to over engineer stuff. I'm like, you guys don't know what it's like to live on a ladder. Like, I like a CB radio, if you remember those things.
Yeah.
I like the Nextel walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
I like turning the key on the truck and it starts. I'm a one button kind of guy.
Yep.
And so are all my teams. So if you put more than one button on the technology, we're not going to use it.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
Yeah.
There's
Simplify
lots
it
of
and get to work.
Yep. So tell us a little bit. I mean, so when you got into the technology, obviously you saw an opportunity there. Was that the idea initially, is to build it to eventually sell it? Did you have those big dreams right from the gate, knowing that this is a very niche place? I know we can do this and go the distance.
Yeah. So in the one company that we took, that's a multi-billion-dollar company, we weren't ever thinking about selling, and then we did.
Sure.
And here's the thing, we have regrets. Like, why did we sell that?
Sure.
So naturally, there's this thing called pride.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, let's do the dang thing again. And
Sure.
and this time, instead of starting from square one, we had a little bit of capital. You
Yep.
have a good exit. So
Yep.
we're like, let's buy a company and take a company we buy and build it up stronger, which is, if you read enough books, you'll find buy to build is actually quite popular. And that's what we've done. And we bought a tech company out of Vancouver, and I hung out again. Here I am again, back with the engineers. They're speaking English to me,
Sure.
and I'm nodding my head like a confused puppy, and I didn't know what anything they were saying. I'm like, I know you're speaking English, but you got to explain it to me like
Yep.
I'm 5.
Sure.
So I'm also a product guy.
Yep.
And so we're getting into it. And while we're doing that, I get the chance to work with the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent our nation's 911 phone call. Because now in your pocket, you probably have a smartphone, and on that smartphone are probably like 55 cameras everywhere on it. So
Mhm.
we're going to use that thing. So I had to come up with a way that when you're in an emergency and you're compromised and you're on with 911 and you can't explain it, is
Make
for you
it
to be able
skip.
to just tap a button and now in your cameras and stream that video right to the police car. It's called situational awareness.
Sure.
And so I had woke up at like 3 a.m, like, oh, I got it.
Boom.
We'll just send a text message, tap it, and go.
Wow.
And sure enough, that was the beginning of the next journey back to listening to the customers.
Sure.
And it was my way back into home services and back into construction. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was like, I wonder who else could use this simple tap a text, show your video. And I'm telling this guy who takes care of the Tennessee Titans football team in Nashville,
Mhm.
right? And I'm showing him all this stuff around emergency. He's like, James, that's all well and good, man, but I got the stupidest question for you. I'm like, what is it? He's like, this arena is huge. He's like, can I just text my guy across the arena when the trash cans fall over so he can just show me so I don't have to hop in my little golf cart? Because that was that would help me.
Sure.
And that's when I was like, man, this is a CB radio. This is a
Yep.
Nextel walkie-talkie, except for with our eyes.
Push to
I was
talk,
like,
but with
yes.
video.
Yes. Same thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, who else could use this?
Sure.
Sure.
And I have a buddy. He's in the Hall of Fame of self-storage. I didn't even know that existed. He's in it.
He's
I'm telling him
That's
the same
wild.
thing I'm telling you guys. He's like, well, why don't you just come in here and disrupt self-storage? Like, we're all trying to manage all these different buildings with less staff. We could try and use your stuff. And I was like, I don't know a dang thing about self-storage. He's like, don't worry about it. Come with me to Vegas to a conference, and you can meet all the smarty pants people, and they can tell you what to do. And you're the nerd with the glasses. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so while I'm doing that, and I'll stop out of this story for a second. While I'm doing that, there's these companies called moving and storage companies. I'm like,
Yep.
it says storage on the sign.
Yep.
So I call them up. Not the same.
Not
I
the
was
same.
Dang
A
it.
little different.
Not the same. They're like, we move boxes, man. We take a box
Yep.
from
Sure.
A and we put it to B.
Yeah.
And I'm telling this credible guy, super smart. Like, he's like one of the smartest guys in the moving industry. He's like, here's the thing. You have no idea what you're sitting on. You're sitting on a pot of gold. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, James, the most expensive thing we do here at our moving company is I put a guy on an hourly wage in one of my trucks to burn up my gasoline in the hopes that we're going to close the deal that he drives to from my location to the customer. He's
Sure.
like, well, just text and they can show us, and I'll either close it on the spot. Maybe it's good enough to drive out, or maybe they're just kicking the tires and they really just want to hire someone with 2 pizza boxes to move.
Sure.
We don't want to even meet them. He's like, and he was right.
Yeah.
He was
Wow.
so right. That was
Yep.
2 years ago, and boom, we're under the hood of Service Titan. We're under the hood of Jobber. I got thousands and thousands all over the world of business owners and users. It's crazy.
Sure. So
He
you
was
are
so right.
you were working a little bit with Service Titan, even.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we're under the hood of them. Yeah,
Sure.
because we're one of only a few companies that do live video in the whole world. So
Sure.
they didn't have any of that.
Sure.
So
That's all just from listening to the customer, and now you have a whole different deal going on.
yeah, I'm really not that smart. I just listen well.
Sure.
Just listen well and apply the right things.
Yeah, like I need my Mr. Miyagi, right? Karate Kid was like,
Yeah.
painting the fence and, waxing the thing. And he was like, what? I'm trying to learn karate. And Mr. Miyagi was like, you don't understand,
Yeah.
and then boom. And I think that's the thing is like, am I willing to listen? Am I willing to be humble?
Mhm.
Am I willing to, put my pride down for a second and then get to work?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a pretty incredible and piece, especially with sales changing and people liking more of that face-to-face interaction. I think that's a huge piece. There's a lot of other noise in, especially in the home service business, as you're, finding out, and that's where my background is. And I think that's is a great piece to deliver that higher customer experience. And you're really on the spot and very personable. That seems to miss a lot in the business, and I'm sure you see it as well.
Totally. Like Amazon has ruined us all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything.
I mean, at
needs to be
first it was
done
2
yesterday.
days, and now it's like overnight. So you're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna take it overnight. Like I'm not even waiting 2 days. And so the same thing happened with service-based business. No matter what you're doing,
Mhm.
Yep.
you're doing screen printing, you're doing home services, you're doing market. We want it now. I don't
Yep.
like to wait in line. I don't
Yep.
want to wait in line for a sandwich. I don't want to wait for my stuff. So why would that be any different in a home service environment? Like if I got a leaky pipe, guess when I want it fixed?
Now.
Not
Wow.
next week.
Yep.
Yep.
No, and that takes a lot of the scheduling and everything out of it. Being able to be live, have someone that's a technician sitting there and being able to diagnose the problem from an hour away or wherever it may be, I think is huge. And something that you'd kind of talked about in there a little bit is basically smaller companies being able to compete with the bigger ones. Can you explain a little bit more about how that how LiveSwitch is really helping drive those smaller businesses to that?
Yeah, it's a homecoming for me, right? I had small businesses and, I didn't scale up to be one of the larger companies. Like, so this is where I come from.
Mhm.
So I knew the level of spend I would and wouldn't do for anything new, which was, I didn't have a high tolerance for that. I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that my guys get paid and I get paid.
Yep.
Right. So that was one. Is it going to be affordable? And our stuff is crazy affordable. We're talking about like $5 a day. I compete with the gas tank. I was like, I want you thinking about me when you're filling up gas. That's what I want you thinking about. I'm competing because gas ain't getting any cheaper.
Mhm.
So I want you to think about that. 2, I want you to think of speed to lead. I will go up on conferences on stage and I will literally blind secret shop your business. So if I was in Orlando at a power washing conference and I got up on stage, put the speaker there, and we started cold calling. We Googled power washers near me. 766 5-star review. Guy is spending tons of money on marketing.
Mhm.
Hit the call button. Rings 10 times. Went to voicemail.
Wow, crazy.
Went to voicemail, right? And
Wow.
so the next day, I can't make this stuff up. The next day, another speaker's like, "Did you hear about the guy secret shopping?" And one of the guys that was in my session was like, "Oh yeah." And the guy he cold called is right here. And the whole room was like, "Oh my God." Well, this dude, of course, he's like 6'5", built like a tank, and he's coming around the corner, beelining it to me. I'm like, okay, so this
Oh
is how I
boy.
die.
Yeah.
This is how I die. It's over.
It's nice
Like,
knowing
it's over.
everybody.
I had a good run. I mean, so he gets up there, he's like, "Did you call me yesterday?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's part of my thing. I want to show that, we spend all this money and we can't even pick up the phone."
Yep.
And he's like, "When did you call?" I was like, and we look, he's like, "Yeah, we just didn't pick up the phone." And his marketing guy's standing there giving me every excuse that he can. And it's like, "No, dude, pick up the phone."
Simple as
Yep.
that.
It's
Yep.
very, very simple.
Yep. It starts with that. How are you helping with that side of things with like the speed to lead? Like you kind of
Yeah.
spoke on there. What are things that you're doing to implement that speed to lead?
2 things. So if you actually pick up the phone,
Yeah.
pick up the phone, guys. Pick
Can't
up the
fix
phone.
that.
"Hi, this is James's plumbing company, right? Can I send you a text and you show me what's going on?" Yes. Text is sent. A person taps it. I mean, I've had 90-year-olds do our stuff. So it just ain't, again, back to CB radio. If it ain't one button, it ain't going to work. Tap it, we're on video. And now show me what's going on. Once I can see it. And here's the thing. I'll ask at conferences, who here's AI robot is their number one salesperson? Raise your hand. No hands.
No
Yeah.
hands.
AI is great for asking simple questions. But when it comes to getting the money, which is what we got to do to take care of our companies, the human face still reigns supreme.
Yep.
Right. And that's usually because we drive out. Now they can see you. And this is tuned up. This ain't a FaceTime call. It's actually the reverse of a FaceTime call. It's purpose built. If you want to use FaceTime call, that's great for grandma watching the kids blow out the candles. But if you want to like use the right tool for the right job, because everything gets recorded, take remote photos, you walk the customer through. If you can bid it right there and win it, great. You're not going to win them all. You're also going to get rid of the tire kickers and the people that are just taking you for free consulting, which is a waste of your time. And then you can decide, I'm driving out to get that. So that full spectrum of like getting that face in front of that person makes that connection. And in some cases, you get the money. The other thing that we're doing is after you've done the work, or you can put this on marketing material, is using QR codes. Thank you, aviation industry. I literally can't get on an airplane without a QR code, right? So everybody knows what they are now.
Yep.
So now what our guys are doing is putting QR codes up on site. If they're an HVAC, put it on the HVAC unit. If they're a plumber, putting it on the water tank. Electrical guy on the back of the breaker box. Because the one thing I'm trying to prevent, and what happens when I secret shop people, and what you guys, everybody does this. When you got a problem and you don't have somebody, you go to Google and say, painters near me, plumbers near. I don't want that. So when I claim my spot, and it's like, when you're driving on the highway and there's a wreck on the other side, everybody stops on the other side to look. It's just what we do. Just like if something breaks in your house, you're going to march down there and look at it. Whether or not you know how to fix it or not, you're going to go look at it. So if that QR code is staring you at the face, says, hey, this is James Plumbing Company, phone number, scan a QR code and take a video and show me what's going on. It'll automatically send that video to your Dropbox, ping you. You can call back. I'll watch the video. And I'm trying to box out Google. I do not want somebody Googling plumbers near me.
Sure.
And plus, I want them remembering. I had my roof done a couple of years ago. I couldn't tell you the name of the company that did my roof when my neighbor's like, hey, the roof looks great. I'm like, yeah, it sure does.
Whatever.
Yep. Keeping the water outside.
Yep.
Exactly. But now put a QR code on the back of that garage. Put a
Yep.
QR code on that downspout.
Sure.
Own it. It's going to be a race. It's already happening.
Yep.
This ain't this is happening right now.
Sure.
And people are literally sending out, even if a neighborhood they want, or an office they want, or corporation they want, they're sending out, hey, ever have an issue? I'm your plumber. Scan this. Show me a video, and we'll be the fastest to quote and come out and fix that there are.
Do you have
Welcome to
some?
speed.
Do you have any success stories to share on people that have kind of implemented this side of things?
Yeah. I was actually on a podcast around restoration just 2 weeks ago, talking about some of this stuff, but in more of a restoration context. Well, this little company called ServPro, I think they got like 2,300 locations. After they heard it, my email was blowing up. I get on with them. I get on with their Charleston location, Rachel and that team. They look at it Monday. They buy it on Monday. They implement it on Monday.
Wow.
Because if you can send a text message, you can use my stuff.
Yep.
It takes 5 minutes to train.
Sure.
I don't want change management. And none of my guys wanted that. Nobody wants to sit in a week-long training to learn how you use your CRM. Like if I'm a painter, I just want to paint something or close the money. Like I don't want. But now you have to. Like we all have tech. I mean, pieces of paper. And I remember I used to have those carbon copy sheets on my proposals. I'd go and I'd rip out the pink thing for them. The yellow sheet went to finance, and the white one was me for the sales guy.
Yeah, no, it's cool. What that has to be pretty exciting seeing a business like that grow on. I mean, what have you gotten feedback from them, since? It sounds like it was pretty recent, but like how big of a game changer has it been them just in their daily
I could read
operations?
you an email they sent me today.
Sure.
This guy proactively was like, hey, I'm going to put you in front of all the project managers, in front of all ServPro. Could you have what's your link for someone to connect? He proactively emailed me today.
Sure.
That's
That
awesome.
it smells pretty good.
Yeah.
And I've got many more stories like that. My favorite ones are the ones from our customers. Like I got a guy, solo dude, who hangs TVs and puts the speakers in your house, right? He started using our stuff a little over a year ago, and he's talking to us. He's like, James, the best thing about your stuff is I don't have to drive everywhere, and I get 2 hours back every day with my 2-year-old daughter because of your stuff.
That's awesome.
Is
Yeah,
there Is there any tips for like people trying to maybe look to implement technology, whether it's LiveSwitch or anything else out there? I mean, technology can be scary to jump into because change is scary. Is there any like little nugget of advice to maybe what to look for and how to actually implement that into your business? Because if you don't start implementing this stuff, you're going to get left behind.
Yep. So one of my customers, he's an electrician in Vancouver, Van City Electric. His name is Corey Byron. He's part of this network called the Breakthrough Network, and most everyone's heard of it. It's like 900 of the home service folks really trying to push the needle. Well, he won the award for Breakthrough Network Owner of the Year last year. So he's kind of smart.
Yeah.
Here's the thing:
Okay.
reach out to that dude. He literally will tell you his system of what he does. He's like, I use Jobber, I use LiveSwitch, I use Go High Level, I use Nice Job, and he knows how to use it, and he McDonaldizes it, and he's like, James, I just love telling people how to do this stuff. So my point is, to your question, find some smart people who are already doing it,
Sure.
and ask them, like, what tools do you use? Don't we already do this? What's the best truck to get? What's the best tools to get? What's the best software? And if you ain't got nobody,
Get
well,
somebody.
Yeah.
go on to this little thing called LinkedIn. And you know what I do when I go into any industry, and sometimes I start as a flea on a dog, and then eventually I'm up on a stage. Is this is what you got to do. You want to network? I'm about to give you guys how you can change your life. I'm about to put thousands of dollars in your pocket right now if you do this. I promise you. If you don't, just try doing it and report back to me in 3 months. Every morning, every day of the week, you wake up and connect to 10 people in your industry. If you're an electrician, connect to 10 electricians every day. And maybe even the vendors too. We all aren't trying to just grab the credit card out your back pocket. Don't worry. We're not all vultures. All right. So
Yeah.
go ahead and, connect. Just hit the connect button 20 times a day. If you do more than 20, you'll get blacklisted. So don't do more than 20.
Sure.
Just 20.
20.
And some brave souls are going to say yes to you, even though they don't know you. And before you do that, please put up a nice picture. Don't get a selfie cam. Like, I went to AI and submitted 4 different pictures of myself, and it made me look great. And so you can do it like that. That's what I did, and it's very cool. And make sure your background's nice. Put your about section. Put your work history. Look like you're somebody that needs to be connected to, right? Like, look the part. Like, you don't shake hands with a dude who's living in the dumpster. And no problem. I mean, we do MA entrepreneurs, but you're not going around for that. And hey, sometimes we hit a low point in our life.
Yep.
My point is, look good. Hit the connect button 20 times. Don't send a message. Don't pitch. Don't say nothing. Say nothing.
Yeah.
Do that 20 times a day. Then what you're going to do once a week, don't worry, you're not going to become an influencer. Maybe you might.
Yeah.
Put pictures of before and after of your job. Share a podcast, like maybe the one you're listening to. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already 2 steps down the chessboard. Share this podcast on LinkedIn. Be like, hey, listen to these guys every week. They're like 17 episodes deep. Come on. I'm getting all kinds of good stuff. Share. It's the weirdest thing. If you share first, it's going to come back to you, I promise. What's going to happen? You're going to start connecting to people. And if you do this by month 3 and you hit connect to electrician, now you're going to have like 100 mutual connections, 200 mutuals. And you know what that person thinks when they see 200 mutual connections?
This
They
guy.
don't know who
I should
you are.
probably
This guy.
connect with this guy.
You got it. That's human nature. See, I'm getting down to human nature.
Yeah.
Now, what you're going to get back, all you're going to do is look at your LinkedIn feed. It's going to be all electricians that you've been doing it. And it's going to be thoughts, ideas, the best stuff. You're going to get educated.
Sure.
And then eventually you're going to find this guy, Corey Byron, is kind of doing it. And you send him a little message after you've interacted with content like, Corey, thank you for that little reel. Thank you for the podcast, guys. Just say thank you. You don't have to pitch. You ain't got to do nothing.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're like, hey, man, I got a question. You're kicking butt in electrical. What are you doing for some of your systems, man?
Yep.
And if you say electrician, you look like the electrician, Corey's probably going to reach out to you and say, yeah, man, here's what I do. That's how you make friends in the modern day world. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll get off my soapbox, guys. You shouldn't have brought me today.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a nugget right there. That can definitely change lives just by implementing that.
Yeah. No, and a lot of people, like you said, just don't do that. And they always expect value, or like I've done a lot with LB Capital. I'm not sure if you've heard of them in the roofing space. Lance and his team, they're great, and they add that value first, and that's what they're big on. Is so many people go in there, they go to these conferences and they're just like me. They're not there to actually connect and build a relationship and say hi. And it's just, again, the subtle things. Just be a human. Don't
Yeah.
just
Yep.
like
Be
want to
human.
need anything. It's not secret or anything like that. And so no, that's
And
an awesome
nobody's
nugget.
gonna call you. I hate to
Yeah.
tell you, you're not special. I'm not special. Only my mama thinks I'm special, and that's not even every day.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to reach out to people. You need to be the say hello. You need to give the network. You need to like the thing I'll do is I'll connect people and say, here you go. You should
Mhm.
talk to that person. You should talk to that person. I literally had a guy call me right before this today, where somebody that he's good friends with, he owns a moving company business. Like his friend got laid off, and he calls me.
Sure.
I'm not in the moving industry,
Yeah.
but I know people in the
Yep.
moving industry that I've gone through LinkedIn, by the way. I practice what I preach. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know a few CEOs that I can reach out to and see if she's a good fit.
Sure.
So I'm just going to give. And
Mhm.
it's
Yep.
weird. They come back, you keep giving.
Yep.
It's going to put thousands of dollars in your pocket, or it'll give you a head full of knowledge that you didn't have because you're listening to podcasts like today.
Mhm.
That's honestly kind of how this podcast started, was just trying to be value based, include the community, and just honestly just get like insight into people's lives and business, and just open other people's eyes to what's actually out there. It's so easy to get kind of trapped in your own little world, and you wake up and you do the same thing every day, and it's such a bigger world than everybody knows. And yeah, that's where this all started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine you guys have met some more people because of this,
Oh
gained a
yeah.
lot of knowledge, and
Yep.
I'm gonna take a wild guess. Have you made a deal from doing this? Has someone bought from you, or you bought from them? Has a deal happened? Has money exchanged hands?
Yeah.
We've definitely had a few connections and deals and whatnot worked out. And yeah, we even just heard of one the other day, and it was one of our previous episodes. He's in sales, and he ended up getting a consulting deal out of it, and he got value out of it for being on the show. And I mean, that was an awesome story to hear, that what we're trying to do is, actually working and come into fruition.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to keep the American dream alive, right?
Yeah,
And
dang straight.
it's weird when you give,
Yep.
you'll receive. It's
Yeah.
weird.
No,
It's
and
almost like
that's
it's been an age-old thing.
yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, quite frankly, that's how Blake and I even got to, know
Yeah.
each other and be in the seats that we're sitting in is,
Yep.
we both just kind of hit it off of like adding value. He had a lot of different things going on, and I just show up and do it. And I had a lot of different things going on, and it was never, we never got like pinchy, like, oh, it's, the nicky picky of, you owe me this or what, just
Yep.
kind of that you just do it because, they're a good person, and it just kind of comes around, and that's just kind of part of doing good business, and that's what differentiates a lot of people.
You guys are living examples. And look, yes, you're having to put yourself out there. You're having to get on a microphone. It might terrify a few folks. We're not saying you have to start a podcast. We're just saying you have to hit the connect button.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a huge thing. Taking a little bit of a step back too, just about partnerships. That's another thing that we've talked about. Sounds like you have a partnership in this. Explain a little bit of like how you made that connection. Maybe some things that you look for in that partnership. Sometimes can be a scary thing. Everyone has their own experiences with partnerships, and they can be very bad. Explain to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, meet a lot of people, right? And I always say the cream rises, well, so does the crap.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to be able to determine what's from what. And I hate to call people crap, but there's some people out there that make some crappy choices. How about that? They're not crappy people, they just make crappy choices.
Mhm.
Right? And you're going to live and learn sometimes. Life is hard. Like you're
Yep.
going to get burned. You're going to make the wrong choice. Just get out of there fast.
Sure.
That's fail fast.
Sure.
Because then you're going to find good human beings with a head on their shoulders that are like-minded, that you're going to be able to work together. They may not look like you, smell like you, have a different thing, but that makes you more dynamic as a team, right?
Sure.
My partner and I couldn't be more different. And you can find us wrestling in the grass sometimes just because we're having out. And it might look like something's wrong with the family, it's a bad marriage. No, we're intense, and
Yep.
we're trying to figure out hard problems. And we have different opinions, but we respect each other. And I respect my partner enough to listen, back to that point, to understand. And also, I'm not always right.
Sure.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, start there, but it doesn't paralyze us, right? It just we start. It's like Steve Jobs would say: you take a can and the can starts spinning, and you put a bunch of rocks in there, and you come back in about a month, and they're smooth. So you need that friction in your business.
To
Because
get
if everyone's
polished.
just saying yes, 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 that's not that great. There's
Mhm.
3 things in a healthy business: hiring, firing, and promoting. If you're missing one of those,
Mhm.
you ain't got a healthy business.
Yep.
And some of those are more challenging than others. So, yeah,
Sure.
put the rocks in the tumbler.
Yep.
Yep.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So no, I think that's a great takeaway, and we're starting to get to the end of it here, and a lot of great insights that you've provided. Share with us where people can find you, how they can connect with you, if they're interested in LiveSwitch, if they can, where they can go to get that tutorial.
Yeah, shocker. LinkedIn, like we
Yeah.
talked about earlier, right? James Hatfield, Hatfields and McCoys. My great uncle is Double Lance Hatfield. Reach out to me, hit the connect button. I will accept. And then also liveswitch.com, liveswitch.com. And if you go in there and you want to check out more, ask for James. Tell them you heard about me on the American Dream podcast, and I will personally take care of anybody who's listening to this podcast. I won't send anybody else in my company. I'll personally meet with you, and we can talk through anything you like.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really great, and really appreciate your time today, and utilizing this technology. I think that is a huge thing. I didn't personally know anything about LiveSwitch, haven't heard about it in the industry, but I think we'll probably be having a conversation here soon as well. So
Yep.
really great about that connection, and appreciate your time. And
Just one thing before we hop off too, is there any piece of advice you can give to anybody that's in small business, anything you've, like a quote or anything you've lived by to get you up in the day and get you excited about what you do?
Surround yourself with good people, right? Have a board of directors, a personal board of directors, maybe also one for your business. But when I get energized talking to people that may be way down the path from me and are willing to turn around and help me out, because guess what? One day it's gonna be my turn to turn
Yep.
around and help somebody out. So that'll get you energized. And if you ain't got somebody, we already re-listen to the episode.
Sure, yeah.
It can happen. You put
Yep.
yourself out there, and I know you might be small, but hey, those who can be responsible with a little bit can be responsible with much.
Perfect.
That's
I love
awesome.
it. Well, I appreciate you, James, for hopping on, taking time out of your day to get interviewed and talk about your story and where you came from and how you got to where you are today. So thanks again for hopping on with us. And remember, today's a good day for a good day.
Yes, sir. Thanks, James.